Welcome aboard. This is the Miles to Go podcast. And now here's your host, Ed Pizza.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Miles to Go podcast. Once again, I am in Las Vegas. The background that you see is the Fontaineblue Hotel, the newest resort casino, mega casino in Las Vegas. If you are watching on our YouTube channel, Mr. Kerr just back from points in the Caribbean and his very first Aman Resort stay, which we were going to talk about. Also going to talk a little bit about a hotel pass, interesting and new, and Mr. Kerr definitely has some spicy thoughts on that this morning. Mr. Kerr, back from your first stay at Aman Resort. You're an elite company now, man. I have not had a stay, although I've always wondered and wished and hoped. I want to know all the things, Mr. Kerr. I want to know all the things.
I would just tell you, being back at work this morning and seeing I haven't even begun to make a dent in all the outstanding fire. It's terrible, man. So I'm going to be extra salty this morning as I deal with this. I like
extra salty, Richard.
Oh man, it's just so terrible being back. I mean, to everybody listening who I work with, it's so nice to be back too. Everybody else, I'm really salty being back at work. But you strategically make these things so you come back to work. We're recording on a Friday, so I just have to make it through today, and then I can take a deep breath.
Well, you are going to get to take a deep breath. So take one right now as I do a little housekeeping for the show. So if you're just tuning in, Ed at pizzaemotion.com is going to get you to us via email. He is at KerrPoints on all those social media channels. And if you haven't been following him, maybe you would have seen some incredible pictures from your recent stay, which we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. I am at Pizza in Motion. The show itself is the Miles to Go podcast on TikTok and Instagram. You can text us or leave us a voicemail at 571-293-6659. We are sponsored once again by Thrifty Traveler and Thrifty Traveler Premium, which we are going to talk about here in just a little bit. But yeah, man, spill the tea. This was other than the substantial delays that you encountered on your flights. This was a really fun trip to watch, to follow along with.
I ended up at Amanyara. Aman Hotels, if you're not familiar, hadn't heard about it, I would argue one of the most luxury chains in the world for hotels. Just amazing resorts, mostly in Asia, but also a few Europe, and then a few locations here in North America. But dude, we found using the American Award Map tool, where you just put in your home destination or your home airport where you want to go. You can see, hey, I want to spend this many miles. I don't know, about 2.5 months ago, I found flights from Atlanta to Turks Caicos for 10,000 miles per person in economy, and then 25,000 miles per person coming back. And usually on American these days, when you're looking at that, there's the huge 22-hour layovers or just something abysmal, or 5:50 a.m. departures. But these two itineraries were perfect, like hour and a half, 2-hour layovers in Miami. So I booked them up. Again, you can do free cancellation, so what's the harm? No idea if we'll be down there. I had always heard great things about Turks and Caicos and that it was expensive, so we had the dates. Very short story, American couldn't pull off flights in either direction on time, so about 2.5 hours delayed going down there, hour and a half coming back. It is what it is, man. It's just kind of like there's no way that flight's going to be on time. But that led me to, this was the 15th anniversary for Mrs. Kerr and I. Hey, what's something special we can do?
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. She's decided to stick around for 15 years. Everybody should give her a standing ovation for that. But man, Turks Caicos, your options are kind of limited down there as far as points go. I think there is an Andize coming that's been delayed for years. There is a Ritz-Carlton down there, but the rest of it's just like boutique hotels and resorts. All of them very, very pricey. And then, of course, there's the Aman, which is completely up by itself at the north end of the island, or the main island where Providenciales is, airport code PLS. And dude, I don't know, I can't share all of the details, but to everybody who asked on Instagram and everybody who was in shock, we did pay cash for this stay, but through the day job have been lucky enough to make some connections who helped me out and got the Aman had a third night free deal, which is the only reason in the first place I entertained this. And you know how some hotels say third night free, and it's just like an averaged out discount that's by no means a third night free.
Right.
The way Aman had it is first night this much, second night this much, third night zero. So it was actually a deal. And then on top of that, again, through the day job, some business connections reached out to the Aman team and helped me out. And they took, what I've told everybody is they took the rate from in orbit, where I was never going to touch it, to just the offensive stratosphere, where I decided to touch it, and it combined with the third night free. So it was expensive, and I will tell you, look, the overall thing is it was worth it, man. Can we do it every single year or something like that? No, then it wouldn't be as special. But I first read about Amans from Lucky at 1 Mile at a Time, I think about 12 years ago. and had always wanted to stay at one of these resorts. And just look at the prices every time you go. There's just no way. And the only way you're going to use points is Ed style through Capital One Venture points and just erasing the charges.
That's a lot of Capital One points.
It's a lot of Capital One points.
When you told me you were staying at this property, I went and looked at cash rates. And it was like, whoa.
So let me tell everybody's like, I'm not going to say exactly how much it was, but if you go and look at Amanyara and Turks and Caicos on any given night, like a base, they call them pavilions. There are pavilions, which are your own little private huts, essentially, and there's different categories of pavilions, and then there are villas, which are 2 up to 5 bedroom villas. The pavilions, like a garden pavilion, which does not have an ocean view, does not have your own pool or anything, if you go and look at the rack rates, it will be between $2,500 and $3,000 a night. I did not pay that. So
to be clear, though, calling these huts is
it's not. Yeah, it's a very
sort of like,
nice.
It's sort of like calling a Lamborghini a car.
Oh, well, just like a pavilion, right? I don't want to think people like. I think pavilion in my mind, and I think like an expansive. I don't know. It's a room. It's a very nice room. Everything is so private. Like I don't even know where to start with this, man. But I didn't pay $3,000. I didn't pay $2,000 a night. So I'll tell everybody I paid less than $2,000 a night. The property by itself, again, completely on its own. There's no other resorts around. You we rented a car because the taxis and everything in Turks and Caicos are so expensive, and the resort charges $195 each way for a 25-minute drive. That we rented a car from the place right at the airport, and that was the best thing that we did because then you can go around. We went to the grocery store before we drove to the resort. We got some booze at the grocery store, which we ended up keeping in our room because drinks at food and prices and everything, man, we could talk about.
We're pretty sure that you're the only guest that stopped at the grocery store on the way to this.
Let me say this. How I knew I didn't belong there, right? I spoke English. Lots of foreign guests who obviously had so much money they didn't care. Most things at the resort don't have prices. Now, the food menus for breakfast, lunch, and dinner do have prices. They are, I would say, they are of course expensive, but having spent so much time in New York, man, like they are no different than New York City menus now. The one thing that gets you at Turks and Caicos is 28% is added onto all the prices you saw. And it was like 10% of that was a service charge, 12% was taxes, and then there's 6% something else. So you're looking at all the prices, you're like, no doubt, these are really expensive, but add 28% to that. That's the tough part. Other things didn't have prices. Like you could do, man, there's so much to do at the resort. You think it's just a place to chill. It's not. They've got amazing tennis courts that are like the faux clay courts. They've got mini soccer and lacrosse fields. They've got a pickleball court I spent a bunch of time on. And of course, they have pros for all of us there. They have mountain biking and nature trails and swimming and catamaran and kayaks and snorkeling. They have visiting yoga and Pilates professionals. They have visiting chefs. They have activity. Like it's just like we were incredibly active and it was so much fun because we were just always doing something. And then there was plenty of time to go chill on the beach if you wanted to do that. But I mean, none of this stuff had prices. So you could it'd be like 1 hour hire our hit balls with our pro at tennis, an hour hitting session or a private thing. Or you go to the spa and you ask for the spa menu and the spa menu has no prices. And we're like the only people that are like, or like, they come around and they're like, hey, can I get you a drink? And, it's like, okay, well, I would love to know like how much a beer is or whatever. But I was the only person I ever saw asking for prices. I think everybody else who goes here just has so much money that they don't care. Or they said, hey, Wednesday night everybody goes down to the Beach Club, which is one of the 2 main restaurants, and it's Italian night. And you have a fixed Italian menu, 3-course dinner. And they're like, can we sign you up for reservations? And I'm like, well, how much is it? Whereas like look around the other breakfast tables, are you coming to Italian night? Everybody's like, yeah, we'll be there. Like put us down for 2 or 4 or whatever. It was $150 per person set course before the 28%, and that included no drinks. So it's like, a casual $400 dinner that nobody else is asking prices about. And Emily and I are like, well, it sounds lovely. Can you tell us how much it is? And they're like looking at us like, what?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Was it uncomfortable asking how much it was? Did they make it uncomfortable?
They didn't make anything uncomfortable there. They are really great. They were just like, sure, we'll be right back with the actual menu, and they have the price at the bottom. So like it was never uncomfortable. I felt like I was the only person asking for prices. But
you were, to be clear.
But I mean, like
that's the reason you felt that way.
The hour hitting session, just to have a guy come and hit tennis balls with you for an hour was, 110 before the plus. And if I had wanted to hire the pickleball instructor who actually just ended up hanging out with me because he was a super cool guy and we hit it off, it would have been like 150 for a private hour lesson. Instead, he just came out there and like we ended up playing for an hour and it was awesome. Just like, things are expensive and I was the only person. So that's how I was like, knew that we didn't belong. But, let's kind of organize this a little bit, We'll start with the room. Pavilion, we ended up having an ocean view pavilion. It's like the third highest level of pavilion, so not the base, and then not the base with a pool, but right on the ocean. Amazing, man. Just, you can go look at the Instagram videos. The waters are just so blue. There's no seaweed like everywhere else in the Caribbean. It's fantastic. You got your own little rock cliff outcrop that they've obviously done some man-made work on. All three sides of the room are completely glass, but you got this little, like, you can't even, when you're driving, so everything is really spread out. You can either jump on communal bikes or you can ask for a golf cart ride. When you're driving through the paths, you cannot see any of the rooms. And all the rooms are their own private buildings. There's so much foliage and trees and vegetation that have carved out that you literally, even though it's all three sides are glass, like, you're never going to see another person unless you call them to your room. And then there's little sidewalks from the main path over to, like, through all of the vegetation to get to your room. And there's a little rope thing that you put up. And if you put the rope thing up at the beginning of the sidewalk, nobody will come down there. It's like the do not disturb sign. So if you want to keep all three windows open, like early in the morning, everybody's in PJs, you're taking showers or whatever, like, you don't have to worry about, like, it's so private. And I think that's why most people come to a place like this. There is, just, you walk right out. They've got lounge chairs out there looking at the ocean. We're on the sunset side of the island. The sunsets were incredible. You can chill in your room or at the pool and watch. There's a mini bar. Everything's included in the mini bar. There's a few snacks. They replenish it twice a day. So, like, there's like 4 beers in there: Sprite, Coke, water, sparkling water, everything. All that's included, which was great. There's water everywhere because it is hot as all get out, man. But I'm telling you, we stopped at the grocery store and got like a 24-pack of water because we didn't know. But everywhere you go, there's bottles of water. And every time you sit down, like, a ice cold bottle of water and a Aman koozie shows up next to you with a fresh towel, like that kind of stuff. So you don't have to worry about, being hot because we drink all of the water, man. But it's nice to have, like, those little drinks and the beers. The only thing that was extra in the room was they had bottles of liquor in there, and that was, obviously ridiculously priced. So, like, we drank the beers by the beach, take them down to the beach, and, they bring you a bucket of ice to sit at your beach chair with little bottles of water too, so you can keep your beers from your room cool right there on the beach. The other higher level room was called an Ocean Cove, which the room right next to us actually was an Ocean Cove, where they have, like, set this room out on the rocks, and you have your own private cove to go down that they've obviously carved out of the rocks that are naturally there, and you can swim in your own private cove in front of your room. So, like, I could kind of, like, climb down rocks to get into the water from our room. While I was right on the water, there was no, like, swimming beach. They've made, like, a little private man-made beach if you want an Ocean Cove pavilion. So, like, those were just, again, super cool to look at. I paid for a base room, and again, through some day job connections, they gave us the 2-category upgrade to the ocean view, which, again, with the sunset, man, is just so awesome. So, room, the little mini bar, again, room service, awesome. They bring you a little, every night had a different little gift on your bed when they do turn down service. So, like, first night was like the Aman scented candle you can bring home. So my office is going to smell like an Aman for the next week. The next night was a game of, like, dominoes with the little instructions. So you and whoever you're there with can, like, play a game of dominoes while you're sitting watching the sun. Just little things like that are, super awesome. A $45 bottle of champagne is in everybody's room when you check in. So the room's just, again, super private, really cool. The second you call anybody, hey, we're going to go do, like, Emily and I went to the gym every day, and I played pickleball every day, and we did, like, a couple stretching class. It's like you call them, like, hey, we're about to go do, they're like, yeah, Mr. Kerr, we have you down for pickleball from 10 to 11, so housekeeping will be there while you're gone. So you get back to take a shower, and, like, the room's refreshed again, and, there's 4 more bottles of water sitting there, and all that kind of stuff. So room's fantastic. You can pick. It's great. Activities. They have a daily schedule of activities. There's a movie theater. They got 2 movies a day. They got a little popcorn machine. They have...
Cool.
They have... Dude, the whole family-friendly aspect of this really threw me off. Wouldn't you think that this place would be, like, adults only? Is kind of like...
Yeah.
No, there's a kids center. They call it the Nature Discovery Center. There's a little kids pool, a playground, kids activities, nannies. They got little bikes for the little kids because everybody gets around the property on the bikes. There's little kids' bikes with helmets.
So I'm wondering, I looked up while we were talking, it says that there's 56 quote-unquote rooms on property. So 2 questions. One, how full did it feel? Like how many other couples did you see or groups did you see?
Yeah. So we asked them. They were at 90% occupancy. It felt like nobody was there. Like,
yeah.
At no time did it feel like there were people there. That was, like, kind of a good, like, there was like always another few couples at the pool or the beach. The last day of the beach seemed semi-crowded with, like, half the chairs taken up. But, like, you weren't ever competing for table. Like, it was very chill and very felt empty. And they said that's kind of, again, it's the way it's designed. Like, it's...
Right.
made it be
And
pretty private.
did you see kids? Like, were there any
We
families?
did see a few like tweens and teens because they were out there like hitting tennis balls with their parents. And then I saw a couple little kids. We did see families with little kids there. I think you're going to have to either get one of the multi-bedroom villas or 2 rooms because like the rooms that you're in, there's a king bed for 2 and there's nowhere to like anybody else to sleep. There's no couch or anything.
Yeah.
So it would be pretty pricey family vacation. But again, I think I was the only person there that cared about how much things were costing.
You were the only one that checked the prices before.
I was the only one asking for prices. That's for sure. And I'm glad I did in a few cases.
For what it's worth, and I can't tell on some because I haven't looked up all the different types, but there are 2-bedroom pool villas, and then there's like 15 other types of villas that don't all list bedroom types, but they do list 3 to 6 bedroom pavilions. So some of these, like Tranquility or Ocean or whatever, are multiple bedroom villas. So, I mean, if they have 3 to 6 bedroom villas, that means they probably have in the neighborhood of at least 5, 6, 7 family rooms. So I guess they must have some level of family demand to have, call it 10 to 20% of your inventory dedicated to multiple room units.
I think there were 3 families we saw there again with tweens or teens, or then there was one family with 2 little ones. But talking to the staff, they're like, I was like, you guys have to have regular customers. Like, oh yeah, we have, families running 20 deep that come. And I encourage everybody to go to Google Maps and just look at the satellite view of Amanyara. So you can see, again, how isolated it is from the rest of Turks and Caicos. But you can also, like, zoom in and see there's, like, different villas that face into a center courtyard that have their own pool. And you can, like, get the layout of, like, how isolated and private everything is. I say isolated sounds bad, but just private, I guess is the way to say it. So families can go there, man. But, again, look at those prices, dude. Like, those things start at, like, $5,000 a night, per villa or whatever it is. So, but there's just, again, there's so much to do, like, again, the activities, they have visiting there's like professional tennis players come down and give they stay there for a week and you can just take lessons with the pros, or the famous chefs come, or, like famous, again, I'm just gotten into pickleball. It's a really great thing that's fun to do here in the neighborhood. And, they got pro players come and you go in the pro shop by the tennis courts and they've got all the pros that have been there, have signed all the balls and paddles and stuff and put it up on the wall. And you can see the caliber of folks that come there, and you can actually go on their website and look like who's coming this fall. I'm going to plan my stay while I know, this pro is that I like is there and I can take lessons or, hit around with them. It's just really cool stuff. We did a couples Thai stretching class. Again, all the activities are included unless you want to do like the extra private lessons or something, or you want a spa treatment. But they had, a couple spa things on during the week we were there. So like one of their Thai masseuse therapists taught Emily and I Thai massage, and we were like each the demonstration. And they go through, and it happened to be right after I just played an hour of pickleball. So like I got stretched out for an hour by a Thai masseuse right after. It was awesome to do that. Again, you can wake up and do mountain biking. You can do guided nature walks. They can set up tours of the island. Like if you want to go and be active, which we did, like it's just so much to do. And it's fantastic because like I got done with like a Peloton class, and a chilled eucalyptus infused towel just shows up on my bike to wipe myself off. We're on the pickleball court, and a cooler of Gatorade and waters and towels just shows up on the court. And like, just like the second you sit down, but they do it in a way where it's not like all inclusives we've been to where they're like hawking, right? They're like, intrusive. It's just like somebody appears or something appears, or like, you don't know exactly what's going on, but they know where you are on the property at all times. And again, it's not in a creepy, like you don't know that they know. They just like, they remember your name. You're riding the bikes by and somebody on the golf cart goes by and they go, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Kerr, like, I hope you guys are having a great day. Just really fantastic. And the last thing I'll say is the pool and the views are great. There's a main restaurant that has an air conditioned room where you can eat outside. Look, it's really hot. We chose to eat in the air conditioned room one night. It's an Asian mixed kind of grill. And then the beach house, the beach club is Italian and American down on the water with incredible sunset views. Again, prices, like you're talking without drinks, depending on what you order, between $40 to $70 for an entree, appetizers $20 each, cocktail $20. This is all before 28%. So, a nice dinner for 2 with appetizer, 2 entrees, and 2 drinks. Like you're probably pushing $250, $300, but you can choose how you want to play it. We had bought a bottle of vodka at the gas station on our way to the resort. So like we just made ourselves cocktails, and we brought a case of LaCroix and a bottle of vodka, and we would pour out half of LaCroix, fill the rest up with vodka, and just go to dinner with our own homemade cocktails. And like, that's like $40 at the restaurant. So
and the only one doing that too.
Well, I mean, everybody kind of, I don't know, man. I think people were kind of aware what was like pricey stuff, but everybody was kind of walking around with like a can of sparkling water because they had them in the fridges too. So everybody could be walking around with the same can of whatever was in the mini fridge, and like ours was just happened to be halfway full of vodka. So like,
So talk to me a little bit more about the restaurant situation. So you mentioned the Asian place, and then you mentioned the Italian American place. Were those the restaurants, or were there other options?
those were the restaurants. You could also order from those same menus in your room, and again,
Right.
the prices in the room were no different than if you gone and ordered at the restaurant because they're expensive already.
Right.
And then they have this bar area that's actually like a 360 bar. The main courtyard where the main restaurant and reception is, and a couple little gift shops and movie theater and the main bar. It's just a really awesome setting around a little man-made lagoon with perfect vegetation. You could order bar snacks from the bar. They had like also really fancy cigars and smokes if that's your thing. And so you got two main restaurants, or eat in the room, or order like bar snacks at the bar. It was kind of the different options.
And then I assume that main restaurant was also where you did breakfast, and that obviously I'm sure they did room service breakfast.
Yeah, they do room service breakfast, yeah, or you eat breakfast at the one main restaurant. And we had breakfast included with our package, thank goodness, because...
I was going to ask that. Yeah, well, yeah, I was going to ask how much breakfast.
Yeah, man, you're talking $14 for one glass of orange juice. You're talking $10 for a cup of tea. You know, all the sides were $10 each, so like hash browns, $10. Chicken apple sausage, I got $10. You could order smoothies, $17, and then the entrees were anywhere between $23 and $45 per breakfast entree. Now, we didn't ask any rules about, hey, what's included with our breakfast in our room, or like that's the one thing we didn't ask. We just ordered a lot every morning, and it was never questioned. So like, I would have tea, she would have coffee. I would order a custom smoothie. Again, they got like a whole list of ingredients, and I was like, let's get some greens in this morning. So, you know, I would order $17 smoothie. She would order the side bowl, and she would get avocado toast, and then I would get an omelet and a side of protein. Dude, it was like a $200 breakfast, and it just went away. So like, never asked. The other thing that I thought was interesting with the restaurant scene was, except for our very first dinner, and I don't know why this is the case, after that, we didn't sign for any other checks. We never signed. Now, gratuity is added as part of that 28% on everything, and I think that is what covers the staff. I don't know how much I can't remember how much that 28% was the service charge that it went to staff, but nobody ever asked us to sign another bill. They never asked us our room number again. They knew who we were. They knew where it went. And when I like would ever check the room bill, like it was always correct, including the 28%. The tipping situation is a question a lot of people asked on Instagram. And I asked a few people who had been to Aman's or who are in that arena of life, who go to these places often, like, dude, just tell me what the tipping situation is here. They said, besides tipping the porters who bring your bags to your room, and if you have a butler, tipping the butler at the end of the trip, they said besides that, they didn't worry about tipping. And I also watched other people. I never saw cash exchange hands on the beach or around the pool or anything like that. So I think they just like, that's not a thing. And in talking to the staff, a lot of them, like the tennis/pickleball guy, he's been the pro here for 9 years, and he's from the Philippines.
Yeah.
And in talking to the wait staff, they've all worked there a long time. I think they're very happy to work there.
Sure.
And it's not like, I really enjoyed that the tipping thing wasn't something to worry about. So,
well, as far as jobs go down there, I would imagine, since it's really a tourism-driven economy, that Amanyara is probably the most coveted employer on the island.
Dude, they were great. I think like most of them super friendly, and if you wanted to chat, they would chat to you. If you didn't want to chat, again, I think they know the vibe of the people that kind of go down there, which again is so funny. Like the Kurds like rolling into some Amanyara place, because I was of course chit-chatting everybody up, you know, super friendly. They remembered, you know, what you had ordered, or where they're like same table as yesterday. So it was just great. I just can't say enough about, I don't know, I've just gotten into pickleball, man, but the facilities, it's so awesome. The sports facilities, and they're apparently about to do even more down there. But they had like on the schedule of events, it was like 10 o'clock pickleball register. And I was like, sweet, we'll get a doubles game up with whoever the other guests are. But it ended up being the pro, and he gave me an hour private lesson. And that's where the cooler stuff shows up. And then you go up in the other little side of where the courts are. There's like an indoor little bar area with like pool and shuffleboard and table games and a fridge of Gatorades and waters and a TV with the latest sports on. So it's like you go out and play a little bit, you go back in the air conditioning and chill, crush your Gatorade, go out and play, ride your bike up to the spa and get stretched out by the Thai masseuse, and then just a chilled eucalyptus towel appears, and then you go back to the room and it's refreshed with, dude, it's just like, I don't know, man, like that's the kind of service and thing that you want in an amazing setting. And then you go down to the most pristine beach that I've been to in a long time with no seaweed. And again, guys kind of like in the background, but not in your business, who like bring you here's the nice little bucket of iced water. And then when the ice melts, like they come back and pour more ice in the top, and like all that kind of stuff, man, that just goes to like, this is like real chilling and relaxing. And then I can go and be active. And like 99%, both Emily and I say that it's worth it.
All right, so a couple more questions. Other than your stop at the local Sheets on your way to the hotel, did you explore the island at all? Because I mean, well, I guess Turks and Caicos is a collection of islands, but
Yeah.
did you explore any of the rest of Turks and Caicos?
Because we were only there for 3 nights, and the first day we didn't get there to the property until on 6, and then we had to leave.
Thanks,
as the
American
time-
Airlines.
Yeah, and then we had to leave again. And then again, the Aman property is about a 25-minute drive away from where civilization starts again. We had the rental car, and we had thought about going and exploring some more of the island, but we just didn't, man. Like the trip was just too short that we were enjoying the time too much. But I can say this, and I do not say this about very many places that I've traveled, because I still feel like there's so much more of the world to see. Like, we will be back to the Turks and Caicos, and I cannot say that about another Caribbean destination that I've been to so far. But given how friendly everybody was, which again, it's just my personal experience, is that is not always the case in some of these Caribbean islands. But the second that we saw the immigration officer, and she's smiling, and she was like, first time here? And we're like, yeah. She was like, oh, welcome. Like, immigration officers don't do that, anywhere in the world, not just Caribbean. But how friendly everybody was, how pristine the beach was, like, we'll go do it. So besides, we did get to see a little bit when we drove to the grocery store, and just driving the 30 minutes back and forth, you kind of get a little bit of what the island life is like. But no, we didn't go and explore the rest of it this time.
Yeah, like Howie said, their business is tourism. That's their thing, and so it's not surprising to hear that they were super friendly. To your point, there's not a lot in terms of ways to get there using points, unless you're using a flexible currency like Capital One. There is a Ritz-Carlton. I don't really want to look at how many points it is per night.
Well, plus resort fee, right? Who knows what the resort fee is down there. So
yeah, I'll look while we're talking.
Yeah.
And then for folks who may not know where Turks and Caicos is located, it's probably about an hour flight from Miami. It's southeast of the Bahamas.
It's an hour and 20 minutes from Miami, so super close, right?
Yeah.
Versus some of the other Caribbean things can be a 3.5, 4 hour flight from Miami. So that was the other thing. I didn't know my Caribbean geography that well, but once I looked it up for this trip, I was like, oh, this is going to be super quick, relatively speaking, hop if American Airlines could be on time. So,
yeah, I have some family that's done Turks and Caicos a number of times, and they really enjoy it. I don't remember where they stay. I'll have to ask. But yeah, it's definitely not far away. So I picked a couple random days in September, a weekend in September. What's your guess? And then I'll pull up a November date. What's your guess on how many points per night for the Ritz-Carlton Turks and Caicos?
oh man, 90,000 a night.
105,000 a night for random weekend in October. Let's look at, say, like a couple weeks before Christmas.
I mean, it's got to be about the same, right? It's not going to get any.
232,000 points for 2 nights, so 115,000 points. I can't believe it says maybe a little bit less than I thought, but let me click through and get what the resort fee is too, because
The other thing there is like, what would be included at a Ritz-Carlton stay? You got a basic room, there's no breakfast, and everything you want to do is going to cost you something.
Yeah.
Amman, incredibly expensive, right? But again, I will go somewhere if there's an illusion of value. I think I've said that several times on the podcast, and everything that is included, from the mini bar in your room to all the activities to the schedule to breakfast, like the illusion just de-stresses me versus if I spent that many Marriott points and still had to pay a resort fee and then still had to pay for every meal and everything. Like that'd be a lot.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But I mean, there's a big gap between 100,000 points and whatever your nightly rate
Again,
was,
the
so
illusion of value, right?
it is an illusion of value.
At
Yes.
least make me feel a little bit better about spending that much currency, whether it's Marriott points or whether it's cash. Do something to make me feel a little bit better about spending that much. And I think Aman, with the service and the activities and everything on the resort, does that for you.
Okay, so I don't have it up on the screen yet, but what's your guess on how much the resort fee is?
It's a minimum of 50. I think.
Yeah, I'm going to say 65.
Everything on the island is expensive, right? A box of cereal at the grocery store is $11. There were just as many locals, in my opinion, as tourists shopping, and talking to the staff. They're like, everybody thinks that's the tourist tax, but like, again, they import everything. The only activity on the island is tourism, so everything there is expensive. Now, going to the grocery store saved us a ton versus, buying drinks at the resort, but it was still like, a bottle of Tito's is like $60, like it's a lot.
I'm not seeing any resort fee. I can't actually believe that. I don't have enough points in my account to book it at the moment, but I don't think that would preclude me because I'm on the final booking page and I've got summary of charges, total points rate, and then it says additional charges, complimentary on-site parking, changes to taxes or fees implemented after booking will affect the total room price. But there's no...
Looks like a 5% facility fee is what they call it.
Yeah, I don't see, but I'm not seeing that pop up on the points booking.
That would be interesting if they did it that way.
It would be very interesting because no resort fee. I'm still probably not staying here anytime soon because I don't have anywhere near enough Marriott points. But if you didn't have to pay a resort fee and this was a truly quote unquote free night at 100 to 120,000 points a night, gosh, I mean, these cash rates are, $800 to $1,200 a night for the couple of weekends that I pulled up. Like that's pretty solid.
I think I would definitely go, like, as soon as this Andaz opens, I would go back, especially if you can still get there for that many American miles. Because the Delta nonstop, while it would have been more convenient and on time, it was $900 round trip in economy per person. So another $1,800 on top of paying for the Aman. I was like, no, we'll take the stop in Miami. Lovely beach, man. I'm already had the Aman website pulled up on the flight home yesterday, checking out other places around the world. It's just a different level of service. And
especially once you get outside of North America.
I can't imagine what an Asian Aman experience is like. And I think we'll save up the pennies again and try and make it happen. I'm not paying over $2,000, and I didn't pay. It wasn't close to. It was over 1,000, but less than 2,000, closer to 1,000 per night. Remember, plus 28% on top of that advertised room rate that you're looking at on the Aman website. So, that's a once 15-year anniversary thing. I think the whole trip in, including the food we ate on property and the rental car, I think for 3 nights, we're sitting between $5,000 and $6,000 for 15th anniversary. And people listening to this will have one or two reactions to that. One, they'll go, he got off way cheap. Like, that's a great deal. Or they'll go, holy crap, like that's for 3 nights. That's ridiculous. But yeah, I had Aman on a pedestal for such a long time. And I told Emily, like, I was saving this for a time in life where I feel like we had accomplished something to where this kind of experience would have been worth it. And look, I'm on the 3rd business that I'm helping to build, 15 years of marriage. We got 2 kids who so far are not going to be terrible, citizens of the earth. Like, it just felt like a time of, like, let's just sit for 3 days in a special place like this and hope that it reaches that pedestal that I had it on. And I would think everybody knows. I would give you a very honest review if that wasn't the case. But I feel like Aman met my expectations and has me looking forward to going back.
Oh, I don't think there's anybody listening or watching who thinks you wouldn't give in on it.
I just want to be very clear that while the day job connections helped me get a more affordable price, I still very much paid a lot of money for 3 nights at a hotel. So this is in no way a biased review.
And I would say, like, if you hadn't stopped at the grocery store for the bottle of Gibson vodka on the way, I probably would have a hard time calling you frugal in the near future. But we'll see if we can't throw up a little poll for folks after the episode to see if you paying for an Aman Resort stay takes you out of the frugal Richard category, and if I'm not allowed to call you cheap anymore. So
if this doesn't do it, I don't know what else I have to do for you people. But
all right, well, let's cover our sponsor real quick, and then I have 1 or 2 very quick topics before we get out of here and get back to our day jobs. Another incredible week for Thrifty Traveler Premium. If you're not familiar, it's a monthly or annual subscription. They've added a hotel program, which we're going to talk a little bit about more with somebody from Thrifty Traveler here in just a couple weeks. We're going to have Kyle on the show. But you can use the code GO10 to get $10 off an annual subscription. You're going to get emails on a weekly basis. If you're a nerd like Richard and I, you'll have it set up for pretty much any airport. And last week, again, 45,000 miles each way in business class to Europe, July through August, November through April. So tons of different availability. San Francisco to Asia for 75,000 points each way. Business class New York to Frankfurt. There were some coach deals. I mean, there were a ton of mile deals that Thrifty Traveler sent out over the last week. So, I just feel like if you've got a premium credit card and you're collecting points and miles and you're trying to figure out how to use them, services like this are gonna go a ton of the way towards getting a great value from your points. There's still a little work to do. You still got to find the stuff, but they lay out the dates, how to book, which currency is the best way to book. So, Thrifty Traveler Premium is absolutely going to pay for itself after you book your first trip using points and miles with it. So while you were gone, you missed some great deals, Mr. Kerr.
Checkbook's got to recover a little bit for everything else I would have to pay for besides the amazing deals that I got on flights using miles.
All right, so real quick, I did get some comments from you in the pre-show on this, so we'll see if you're still feeling spicy. But Wyndham Rewards has announced what they're calling the Ultimate Hotel Pass. Effectively, it's a bit of a lottery. They're only giving away 25 of these. You have to sign up in advance to see if you get a shot to buy one. It's $499, and you get a 30-night hotel pass valid for about 3 months. And there are some restrictions. I reached out to Wyndham. I didn't get a full list of restrictions, but there are some blackout dates. It's not every property, but it seems to be a lot of their hotels. And, I mean, Wyndham does have some pretty nice hotels. At the risk of having you give me your honest opinion, what's your opinion, Mr. Kerr?
Yeah, it's a brilliant marketing campaign that by no means are any of you actually going to get this, because now thousands and thousands and thousands of people have registered to get this. So great marketing campaign. I ignore it because you're not going to get one. It's like, so what's next? Like, like I don't like, again, great marketing campaign. Everybody's talking about Wyndham that otherwise wouldn't have talked about it. I'm sure that meets their goal, but you're not going to get one. So I wish people's headlines would not have been get 30 nights at Wyndham for $499 and you rush in to think you can buy this and it's gone. Or you can't. It's just a lottery. So good luck to everybody out there. You're not going to get it. On to the next marketing campaign.
Yeah, I really like this idea in general, for sure. Like you said, from a marketing standpoint, it got its due. I also think, that everybody should sign up for it. I understand it's a low chance that you're going to get it, but what a tremendous value. I mean, you only need to stay twice and you would make your money off of this thing back. There's some really nice properties. So,
because you could do like the Caesar stuff, you can do some of like their resorts in like Orlando and timeshare. You can't do the vacation rental stuff, but yeah, but also 30 nights, and you have to be done by October 1st, right? So you have like 2 months, and so half of they're counting on, again, you can't use the most expensive places, and sure. Vacation rental, may not use passive vacation rentals, have until September 30th. All stays must be completed by August 1st. You have July, August, and September to stay 30 nights, which, hey, if you're the family that can do that, great. But like, it's just not, for all intents and purposes, a realistic thing to look at, and you're not going to get one. So,
all right, so let's talk about, since we were talking about American Airlines and their level of reliability, quick update. We did talk about this when Julian was on the show, but things continue to march towards a potential strike for American Airlines flight attendants. And like you said in pre-show, there are still some steps between here and there. Timing-wise, gosh, the union's done a great job lining this right up for summer travel. If it does happen, what's your opinions on whether you think that there'll actually be a flight attendant strike at this point?
This is like, it's going to turn into more than a political thing. It already has. Number one, flight attendants should get paid. They're doing an incredibly hard job. And by all factual accounts, some of these flight attendants are getting paid less than the poverty line. So they haven't had the same deal or a deal since 2019, I don't think. So, like, prices are obviously significantly up. Let's pay your people. Beyond that, like, this is going to be a political thing where they're going to get right to the edge, and the president's going to step in and take one for the victory. It's election year. Nobody wants to see a strike in election year. Like, I think the odds of an actual strike happening are very, very low. They're going to go right to the line, and somebody's going to step in and take the political victory. At the end of the day, I just hope Mr. and Mrs. Flight Attendant, Plain Jane, Jim get paid a little bit more or a lot bit more by the airline. So I don't think it's actually going to be a strike. I'm sure the president, whoever, will step in and claim the victory and avert the strike, and all will be well.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you that there likely won't be a strike. I really think the union should have taken the 17% wage increase it was offered by the airline with no strings attached. I understand they think that might have weakened their position, but to your point on what these flight attendants are making, I think it just would have made a tremendous amount of difference, even if they just banked that money for the potential of a strike coming up. So it's unfortunate that it's gotten to this level of acrimony, but hopefully it will be settled soon. And I think it will be settled in exactly the manner you note, which is they will get right to the precipice and then somebody will step in to save the day.
Yep.
All right, Mr. Kerr, I think that's pretty close to a full wrap. We went long and I loved hearing all the Aman stuff. I'm going to just cover real shortly, since I've got this beautiful hotel room behind me, and just say, having stayed at the Fontainebleau and, made an effort to dine here and experience the hotel and stuff like that, short version is I'm nothing different than the last time you and I talked about it. I don't think I'll be back. The pricing for the rooms is too high for what they're offering. They're pricing these rooms, in the same range as like the Wynn, the Bellagio, and stuff like that, without those levels of service. I dined at a number of restaurants, and I'm glad I started with Mother Wolf, which was the Italian restaurant, which was a really great meal, because I don't know that I would have kept going otherwise. But pretty much every other meal I've had here has been average at best. And when you talked about, $14 juices and stuff like that, I think I shared with you and Howie the $42 side order of fried rice that was on the menu at one of the restaurants, which I chose not to order. So pricey, food lukewarm, service not necessarily great sort of stuff. So, like I understand, it's a, as you know, walking through it, it's a beautiful property. It doesn't have much of an identity yet. A lot of things still to come, but I mean, I don't recognize most of the retail stores are here. I never heard of them per se. The restaurants are,
overpriced.
They're
mediocrity.
absolutely overpriced, and maybe they'll get there on food quality and service, but definitely not there yet. So I'd have a hard time coming back. I would absolutely come back for Mother Wolf. Would suggest that for anybody who wants a good Italian meal for sure. Outside of that, I'm mostly a pass on Fontainebleau.
Yeah, I was only there for that one event that evening, but I could never see myself staying there. I just think it's a bigger Vegas problem in general. I guess it's not a problem if people continue to go, but those food prices, man, everywhere in Vegas, at least on the Strip, just outrageous. Like, who is paying that money, man? It is wild. $42 for some fried rice. What?
Yeah. Well, so last night I went downstairs to hit the food court because I just want something, easy after. So we had a happy hour last night for the Slack community. Quick plug for folks who want to support the show. You'll find a link in the show notes or on YouTube to join our monthly happy hours and meetups and all that fun stuff. But we had one last night, and I'm like, all right, it's late. I want to just grab a snack before bed. And I went downstairs for a slice of pizza. And, the place down there was called Miami Slice. I ordered 2 slices of pizza. One was just a regular slice, and the other was, they called it like, I was going to look up the name of the picture, but like they had some cute name for like all the shacks or something like that. It was, like doing it up right. So it was a slice of pizza with like a couple small dollops of burrata and some maybe like olive oil, hot honey glaze or something like that. I'm like, all right, so I'll try one regular and one, dolled up slice of pizza. And the regular slice of pizza was $8, and the dolled up slice of pizza was $14. And it's like, that's a lot for pizza.
Man, again, if people continue to pay, then it's their business. They can do what they want. So I will never be that person doing that. Says the guy from Oman. I'm not paying $14 for a slice of pizza, though. You could get a delicious oven fire. They got this awesome pizza oven right on the beach, and you could get a margarita whole pizza, decent-sized pizza for $20 at the Aman out of the pizza oven. So do that.
There you have it, Mr. Kerr. Mr. Kerr, man of the people. Pizza from the beachside brick oven. Well, next week, when this episode drops, I'll be losing approximately 2 pounds a day due to the heat and humidity down in Orlando. For a quick Disney World family vacation, trying hard not to end up in the hospital due to dehydration. So, more fun stuff to come, Mr. Kerr.
I'm in a lovely city of New York. Hadn't been there.
Something new for a change.
Yeah, something new. Dude, can we just talk? I saw this on Twitter, and I just read into it this morning when I was waking up. The Southwest flight from Vegas to Oklahoma City that got down to 500 feet, still 9 miles from the airport, and air traffic control had to call out and go, hey, low altitude alert, are you guys good out there? And then you look at the flight aware data. What in the world, man?
Well, I said this in our Slack community because somebody brought up the I think it was a Southwest plane in Hawaii that was like like 400 feet off the deck before landing.
Botched go around, yeah.
I mean, look, given how many flights there are, and given the fact that pilots are human beings, I'm really surprised this doesn't happen more. And I think it's a testimony to how detail-oriented pilots are. But, I mean, if you're 99% accurate, we're going to have, 10 near misses a day. And I'm like, these stories come out, and you're right. It's a horrific, it's like a holy cow, how did this happen story. But on the flip side, how do we not have more of these? They're humans.
I don't know about this one, man. How do you get to 500 feet above the ground, still 9 miles from the airport? There have to be some things. I don't know. I guess we'll read the report, man.
Yeah, the only thing I can guess is that maybe they were lined up for the wrong airport. You remember there was that story, gosh, it was a number of years ago. Somebody was lined up for one of the private airstrips near Denver, maybe Centennial or something like that. And it was, like a 737 or something. It was lined up, and then they realized on final approach that was a really small runway and a really small terminal. Oh, hold on, this is the wrong airport.
There's been a few stories of planes landing at the wrong airport, including a Air Force C-17 one time landed at a short, and they had to do the short field takeoff after taking everything off. You can Google that, and the YouTube video will come up after the crew lands at the wrong airport. And it's happened a couple times with commercial planes, but it's just I don't know, man. Look forward to reading the initial report over this one. You can go check that incident out from last week, man.
Well, enjoy your time in New York. I'm not sure I'm going to enjoy my time at Disney World, but we're sure going to find out. I'll let you know what I weigh when I come back and how many gallons of water I drank.
Dude, it cannot be any hotter than it was a couple weeks ago when we were there, man. So hot.
Yeah, it's disgusting. All right, well, lots of fun stuff. Loved hearing about Aman. We'll have a little bit of a Disney update next week for folks, and we'll cover some travel news. All that and a whole lot more, Mr. Kerr, until we upload again. We've got miles to go. A little late for that, Mr. Kerr. It's a little late for that.